Okay, so now Professor Ron here again, and what you're looking at is the introduction to Lecture 3 of the 4 that are there on graphing, giving you step-by-step instructions on how to create a graph. You'll notice that the symbol for Excel and numbers are on the first page, and just reminding you that in order to do graphs in a professional way, you're going to want to be sure and be using Excel or to a lesser degree numbers to actually do the calculation. If you have Excel on your machine, that's the preferred way to do it. And I say that because outside of the classroom, that's what's used for the most part. If you don't have Excel, the numbers program that came with your iPad will work. It's just some of the commands, or many of the commands, if not all of the commands, are slightly different. And at some point, I'll have a numbers only instruction for you to be looking at. At any rate, you're going to notice that in the video I'm going to refer to a course. And the reason that I said it that way is the video was originally created as a study aid for students in my statistics class at the university. Most of the videos that you're looking at on my site were actually created for the classes that I was teaching. Certainly all of the concepts that are talked about are going to work great for you, whether you're in college or you're going to be using this in your business venture or just to do personal stuff at home. A reminder that all of my videos can be found on my website, and there's the address of the website. If you copy that down, you can access it anytime you want. All of the videos are organized and sorted so you can select one that deals with the subject that you're trying to work on. And you can use any of them anytime you want. Certainly there's no charge for doing calling them up, whether you do it once, twice, or 1,000 times. Certainly from my perspective, it would be great if you would subscribe to my channel. Once you subscribe, you'll automatically be sent all of the new videos as I post them. All you'll need to do is to click on the button on the lower right-hand side where the blue arrow is pointing to, where it says subscribe. Most likely you'll have to go up to the top of the screen on the right-hand side. There's a bell there, and click that in addition to the subscribe button. And then when you do that, like I've said, automatically you'll be getting all of the new videos that I post. And I'm going to be trying to post 1 or 2 on a monthly basis every month, so that eventually there'll be something absolutely positively that's up there that you're going to be able to use. Now, with that being said, let's get into video number 3 in the graphing series.
In this instructional video, we're going to take a look at some additional graphs that we can create in Excel. Actually, Excel can do a lot more than the ones that we're going to use in this course, so we're just going to focus on graphs that you're going to be asked to create, which are more typical of the graphs that are created outside of the classroom. Depending on what business you end up in, you might need some of the specialized graphs, but we're going to stick with the basics as far as this class is concerned. So let's take a look at the first set of data that were shown. In this case, instead of having the colors that we had on the first group of slides, we're looking at groups. And the first group, as you can see, is individuals or whatever that fall into the range of 10 to 19, and then 20 to 29, and so forth. The second column, which is headed line graph, is the frequency, the number of instances where the result 10 to 19 occurs. And we've just put in some numbers just to have numbers in there. In this case, 16 for 10 to 19, 23 for 20 to 29, and so on. So in order for us to create a graph, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight these first two columns, similar to what we did before. We're going to select Insert from the top menu. We're going to select Charts, and then select Line. And as we've done before, we're going to select the one in the upper left-hand corner. That's going to produce a line graph, which I've now moved over opposite the data. And you'll see that the x-axis is listing the various categories, and the y-axis then is for the frequencies, which is the column-headed line graph. The second thing that we're asked for, and it pretty much uses the same data, is labeled frequency polygon. You'll notice that in this data, there's two extra rows listed. Where the first one started out 10 to 19 and ended with 70 to 79, this one starts out with 0 to 9. Now there is no data in the 0 to 9 category, and we have added that on our own. And the reason that we've done that is, by definition, a frequency polygon must be anchored to the x-axis on both the low end and the high end. And we can do that without distorting the data by adding these extra two categories that don't really exist. We're adding those categories, and because they don't exist, the frequency of occurrences for both the low 0 to 9 and 80 to 89 is 0. So now that I've added those, I'm going to highlight the data. I'm going to ask Excel to insert a chart. I'm going to pick the line chart. Again, I'm going to select the one in the upper left-hand corner. And what you'll notice is that graph is very similar to the one we just created above. The difference is, on the low end, we have now created a line that goes down to the x-axis, and we've done the same thing on the high end. So if you're asked to create a frequency polygon, it's not enough to just make a line graph. You have to add the two other zeros on the top and the bottom so that the graph, the final result of the graph that you create, shows it anchored to the x-axis on both sides. Next, you're asked to create an ogive. And an ogive, again, in order for you to be able to create, you need to know what it is. And what an ogive is, it's a graph showing cumulative frequencies. So we've taken some demand here, and we have now, it doesn't matter, this is different demand than what we've used above. And what we need to do now is we need to create cumulative frequencies. And you'll notice that in what is shown there, that under ogive, the frequencies are 36, 23, 20, 18, 16, 15, and 5. If the data was not accumulated for us, which it is, we would be able to go in and create the cumulative frequencies by using the formula. And the way we would do that, we would say equals, we would highlight the first number, we would hit the green check, it would give us 36. For the second number, we would say equals, we would highlight the 36, and then to that we would add the 23. And that would give us the same 59. Once we did that, we could say fill and copy the numbers down to all of the fields in Excel. Now at this point, we could just go ahead and create the ogive based on this column. We would highlight the data, we would say insert, chart, line chart, take the one in the upper left-hand corner, and what you would have is a pretty typical OGI. What makes it typical is it continues to rise. That's how you know it can be an OGI. It has to be cumulative data. We can only do one column because if we try to do all of it, we would end up in a situation that we were uncomfortable with because it would misrepresent what we've got. We could only do the most 2 columns. If we wanted the 10 to 19, 20 to 29, and so forth to be listed in the graph, what we would need to do is we would need to copy, paste these values onto the graph. Once we've done that, we would then move them over to the second column, or we could actually move the first column over to the second column. Either way. Now that we have a cumulative frequency graph count, we could highlight the data and we could insert a chart, a line chart. We get the same graph, the difference being, let's line it up so you can get a better look at it, is what's along the bottom. The second graph that we created shows the groups on the bottom. The first graph that we created is exactly the same, but it doesn't show the right stuff on the bottom. No big deal. We can do it either way.
Thanks for watching this instructional video. And you'll notice I called it lecture/instructional video because instead of just being straight instructions, there's a lecture along with it that will help you to gain more knowledge of the subject. All of the videos, by the way, that are on my website. And the address of the website is shown on this slide right now. And also I invite you to please enter any comments or questions you had about the video in the area below the screen. And what's most important to me anyways is to have you subscribe to my channel in order to get copies of new videos as I post them. To do this, you'll need a Google email address, and if you don't have one, YouTube should walk you through what you need to do to get one if you don't already have one that you use. Certainly, in addition to anything else, your input is going to help me to improve the stuff I'm presenting. So any comments that you have will be appreciated. A thumbs up is what I would hope for, but if there are things that you think need improvement, give me a thumbs down and tell me what it is that I need to do to make these videos mean more for you. Thanks again for watching.